You're listening to Business Built Freedom.
Get her out there in podcast land. We're always told to leverage social media sites to bring in more business. But what does that actually mean? And sometimes you're just putting up posts of cats or you're just resharing things, and some things work, some things don't. Today we've got Chantal Gerardy, an online business strategist, that's going to talk to us about how to leverage social media to generate paying clients. So Chantal, tell me, I guess to start off with, should you be on all sites, just one? Does your mileage vary? Is there any reason you should be on every single site? Like if you're an accountant, does it matter if you're putting up pretty swanky images on Instagram, or what's the go?
Hell no. We wouldn't sleep if we were on every single platform. I honestly believe that we just need to be where our ideal customers are, but we also need to be where it makes us comfortable. Like if we're not comfortable on a certain platform, really not comfortable, and you've really tried hard, then maybe that platform's not for you. I still think I love Facebook. Facebook's my favorite, one of my favorite F words. And I love being on Facebook, and I love working with clients on Facebook. I suppose because there's so many people on there. But yes, and I think it's quite an easy, user-friendly platform, and it's social, which means you don't have to be overly salesy. You can be social, you can, focus on building meaningful relationships, and you can find your ideal client on there.
All right, so you said trying hard. Now, this is something that I think is pretty cool, because like a lot of people go, oh yes, I've got my niece or my nephew that they're managing my Facebook profile, and why isn't it working? I'm not bringing any more people, or maybe they're paying them a little bit of pocket money, whatever it is. But like my personal thought is, if you're really good at eating apples, that does not mean you're really good at growing apple trees. And that's kind of the way that I would define the difference between someone who's using a platform versus someone who's actually jumping in to use the platform to make money. I'm sure you see that all the time. And I guess my question is, how does Facebook digital marketing work versus how would you normally position it versus just putting up posts of cats, dogs, and the last job that you did, or smiling customers? Like, what is there a magic source, or how does Facebook digital marketing work?
Well, fluffy and cookie cutter does not work. There's just way too many people out there, and there's way too many cats and dog photos. So it is incredibly important for us to make sure that 100%, like you said, you cannot, just because you can log into the profile and just because you can talk, to your auntie and uncle and share your cat photos and things on there, doesn't mean you know how to generate paying customers. The good news is that you can learn how. Many business owners think that they actually have to get like a marketing degree, or they've got to outsource it to someone else. But little old me, who's massively hyperactive and completely non-techie, I taught myself social media marketing, and I learned how to do it the non-fluffy and cookie cutter way, and I was able to transform my business and get paying customers. So it can be done. If I can do it, anyone can do it, but there is a skill to it, 100%. And if you don't want to burn out, and if you don't want to be stressed and overwhelmed and frustrated, I think it's important that if you are going to use things in your business, that you actually learn how to use them properly, which means, and boys, close your ears, it means reading the instructions.
We're only talking actually just beforehand about not using a platform unless you're going to use the platform. Like, don't have a link on your website going to Facebook unless you're actively using Facebook, or going to Twitter unless you're using Twitter. And a lot of the time, and everyone out there, double check your websites. If you're running a Wix website or a WordPress template, you might notice that those don't even go to your page. Whoever designed it might actually have it going to a default Wix YouTube page or something like that. So make sure you get rid of those links or use them. But I guess there's a lot of things that when it comes to Facebook and marketing, and that people kind of get confused with. So one of the big ones that we've seen with the different businesses we've spoken to is around paid versus organic advertising. So tell us, for anyone that's out there that isn't aware, what is the difference, what works and what doesn't, and what did work and what do you think is going to work?
Oh my gosh, have we got all day? Well, firstly, at the end of the day, we have to realize that the social media platforms are businesses. So they're constantly going to be asking you for money, all right? That's their business model, that's their structure. Does organic work? Well, a lot of people say that it doesn't work. However, personally for myself and all the clients that I've worked with, we've seen massive results. And it's like building a house. If you don't get the foundations right, which is kind of like your organic strategy and your organic marketing, if you don't get the foundations right, it doesn't matter how much money you put on it, it's simply not going to work. None of the advertising in that we do is organic. At the end of the day, it's how you position yourself online. You've got to make sure that you position yourself as a professional. You've got to understand your privacy settings, which we were talking about earlier on, around how if you're going to, be a little bit aggressive in your marketing or campaign, or being a little bit risque, then you've got to have some sort of crisis and management plan in place, but you've also got to know how to hide things and how to block people and how to report things. So if we're going to use these things in our business, we've really got to learn how to use them properly. And when you do organic marketing and you set up your profiles and you follow the instructions and you do them correctly, then you learn how to sort of get it all started and get it working for you. The next part of that then is the growth side of it. So you know how you said with apples and whatever, like you've got to be able to grow them. 100%. At the end of the day, just putting content on a page that has no one there is not going to get you business. Launching a product when you haven't gone and got some hype about it beforehand doesn't mean you're going to have a massive stream of clients coming in the next day. What's really important is you sit down and you focus on 3 things, and that is skills, developing your skills, strategy, so you have the end in mind. How many paying customers are you actually hoping to have? And the third one is a system, because you cannot spend your life online, which means you've got to have a system where you're only going to spend like 20 minutes a day, but because of your strategy and because of your skills, it's actually working and it's actually generating you clients without having to pay for advertising. Now, a lot of people will say to you, no, you've got to do advertising. And I think it's more around everybody's hoping for a magic pill, and there isn't one. There's no magic pill. Sorry.
It's all snake oil salesmen, aren't they? It's just, and I think it's gross how sometimes people just do that sort of stuff. They just sort of really over promote. Oh, just pay and see what happens. And like I remember back in the day, now I've been in business for 14 years now, but we were approached by a Yellow Pages salesperson, business development manager, or whatever you'd like to call them, and they said, oh, you have to be in Yellow Pages, otherwise your business won't be found. A half-page ad for your business, only $20,000. I thought, you'll be there, and when you're at this spot, you'll be there and you'll be in front of everyone else. And I went, that sounds like a lot of money. I don't know if it would have worked out. We never did it, but that's did not sound like a sensible use of my money. But just imagine that now. Imagine someone coming to you and saying you need to spend $20,000 to be in Yellow Pages. You'd be like, get stuffed. Like, there's 100 other things I'd rather spend that money on, like websites and things like that. And it sometimes can be overwhelming. And there's a scenario we like to play, which is on the podcast, which is if you're running a hairdressing, a hair salon, or a pie shop. If you've just started, and you think, I've got, $5,000, and you've saved up $5,000 to put towards marketing. Do you need a website to start the business? Where would that $5,000 be best spent to get a return on that $5,000? At this stage, you've got no customers. So that's the pretending business we're going to play with.
This scenario is my life. So, I came from South Africa to Australia, knew absolutely no one and didn't have a cent. And so didn't know anyone, didn't have a cent, no one knew who I was. I was in a saturated industry, and I didn't even have $5,000 to, put towards a website. So nowadays, you don't need the website. A lot of people say to me, you've got to have the website first and then the social media. And I'm like, well, you can generate paying clients from social media. And then when you make money, go and get that website. 100%, you do need that website, but which comes first? I'm always going to say social media. It worked for me. So if money's important, it's more about getting those clients, and you can position yourself online, and it is something the business owner could do. But if I had the $5,000, and with the experience I have now, would I have got the website? Like, what would I have done? I think I would have invested in myself as a business owner to be better in business. I think that's something that would have been a valuable tool, especially when you don't have customers and you're starting out. Like, you only know what you know, right? You only know hairdressing, or you only know how to make pies.
Yep.
So you don't know what you don't know, and you're not a business person. So I think if I had to do it all over again, the money would go on developing my skills.
Personal development, because I guess it's kind of like the chicken and the egg, isn't it? It's most of the time I find when we're talking to different business owners, they've got one of two major problems. Problem number one, they've got no money coming in and they've got all the time in the world. Or problem number two, they've got lots of money coming in and no time. That's generally where they sit. It doesn't seem like hardly any people we speak to, they go, oh yeah, we've got heaps of time and stacks of money. Sit down, let's talk to you about everything. There's always one or two problems. And so we try to, for what we do in business, get them more time. They might spend $1,000 on something, but then we're removing a process that's costing them $3,000 in time over 12 months. So then they've got that money back. So then they've spent it a little bit, and then they can see the results from it. And that's how we sort of do the things here. But like, I guess, chicken and the egg. It's hard, isn't it? Like, I guess you don't know what do you need to spend time on, I guess. And if you had to work out something, if everyone's just starting out your business, you're there and you're going, this podcast is right for me because I actually have a pie shop. Well, that's weird, but no worries. If you've got no one on, you don't have a Facebook page, you may have some friends in your current Facebook profile, you're just starting off completely fresh, I guess, what are the best Facebook marketing tips to make sure that you're spending your time appropriately on the platform and you're not just trying to find friends?
Trying to find friends.
Yeah.
For me, it's always number one, and that's your personal branding. So for me, again, maybe because I came from South Africa, it was always around privacy. So I wanted to understand the privacy settings of the platforms that I was using, because I obviously was cautious about, how my kids would be seen online, especially when you're trying to go out and generate customers. So understanding privacy settings was important, but also my personal branding. So how did I want to be seen? Like, I'm an extrovert, so I don't mind having everything public, and I don't mind going out there and shouting things from the rooftop. But I was very cautious or conscious of the fact that a lot of people are introverts, and maybe they don't want to be the face of their brand. So there needs to sort of be an understanding of how you want to actually position yourself on social media. There's no right or wrong. There's just a different strategy for each person. The second thing is that don't forget to tell your story. Don't forget to tell your personal story, your journey, your business backstory, how you got to where you are and what you're passionate about. Because at the end of the day, it's social media, which is social, and people want to connect with you at a deep and meaningful level. So you will become memorable just for the story that you've shared, just for the story that you've told. So don't forget to keep telling those stories online, because someone will connect with you just from the story I told now. Someone will go, oh, I was an immigrant in a new country, or oh yeah, I had no startup capital, or yeah, I've got 3 daughters, or you've got 3 daughters, I've got 3 daughters, you've got twins, I've got twins. So people will connect with you just based on those things, and that becomes part of what you do. So that personal branding is really important, and just spending some time and thinking about that is really important. But the next thing, as I've mentioned before, was that strategy. That S word's so important. When I first started out, everyone said to me, just be visible. Just be visible. Take everything, give it away for free, and just shout it from the rooftops and go online and just go crazy. Well, you know what? That's freaking exhausting. It's exhausting, and it's disappointing when there's crickets and you get absolutely nothing from it, because it doesn't make sense, because it's just spitting. There's no sense to it at all. So, when you consider a strategy, it's about working out, who your ideal customer is, where they're hanging out, and figuring out how you're going to best communicate to them in their way. So not in your language, but their language. Because at the end of the day, it's written communication. We're having to communicate via the written word and through, photos and videos. So it's important for us to take some time to consider how we're going to effectively communicate what it is that we do to the people that we want to do it to, so that we can get a yes from them. And then find those people online and then present it to them professionally, but with the end in mind. Don't just give it all away for free. It's not selling if you're servicing someone and they're happy to pay you. Like, it's not selling then, it's servicing. A lot of people are scared. They're scared about that call to action. And call to actions are some of the most important things that you need on social media. You have to let people know what the next step is. You've got to let them know how available you are. Or else they won't click on you, so you won't get a view, you won't get a preview, you'll get scrolled over, and who knows if you'll come up in front of their eyeballs again. Can
you do too much?
I think as a business owner, yes, you can, because you'll just burn out, man. You'll just burn out. You'll get so frustrated. I mean, a lot of my clients have previously, before starting with me, used to sit on their phones all the time, or sit on their laptops all the time, even go to the toilet with their phone. Like, they couldn't leave it because they were so scared that they were going to miss out on something. That's where that other S word comes in, that system. You've got to book it into your calendar. That is your time to do your online marketing. That is your time to do your content creation. That is your time to do your growth strategy. That is your time to, generate clients. That's your time to engage or follow up, and then get off. Like, it needs to be part of your business model. So I think you can do too much, because I think as a business owner, you will burn out, you will get frustrated, and it's not sustainable. So it's just not going to last.
Even if you've got like somebody in your business, so let's say if I had a receptionist and I went, oh, look, while they're not answering the phones, they're doing other admin stuff, and I said, I'll just put some social media posts up, or said something to that effect. Is there a chance that a potential lead looks at your profile and goes, far out, they're updating twice a day, every day. They must have too much time or too much money? Or do you think they're, like, from a person looking in, there could be a bad problem by having too much
From
content?
the person looking in, it's not a problem. So if they were going to stalk your page, and went in there and they saw a whole lot of valuable stuff that you'd strategically put out there from your content bucket, that's not the problem. The problem is actually the step before that. If you're constantly posting stuff, you're not allowing the organic reach of things to come in. So if people aren't engaging, it's just going to go dead. Like, you're not actually going to get that engagement, which means you're not going to come up on people's feeds. So you might be posting, every 5 minutes, but you're simply not going to come up on someone's feed, and you're going to mess up with that organic reach. So yeah, from the customer's point of view, if they're stalking you, that's fine. But from the other perspective, you would mess up the organic reach. You've got to allow posts to go on and reach. But you've also got to have a growth strategy, meaning you've got to go in and grow your page. Like, as I said before, if you just got posts and you're putting posts up, well, if there's no one on the page, it's not going to happen. You've still got to go and take those profiles and you've got to grow them. So that means on like Instagram, it means following hashtags and doing hashtag searches, which is the same as in LinkedIn. It's going into groups or communities that have got your ideal clients, and I call it peacocking. But peacock in front of them, and let them know what you do. So content creation is only one part of it. It's obviously a very important part, but the other part of it is that growth part of it, meaning that you've got to go and do joint ventures, collaborations, get your customers involved in your marketing, user-generated content. Influencers, which I don't really like that word. I prefer to say raving fans or cheerleaders. We've got to also encourage that part happening in your social media to get that organic reach going.
So what is a good reach, I guess? If you've got 1,000 followers, is it something that you'd say that you'd get, if you get, we jokingly said earlier, you got 2 likes and people are okay with that. But if you've got 1,000 followers or 1,000 people have liked your business page, is a good reach to have 5%, 10%? 60%?
That is such a big question.
I know, it's huge.
Huge, because there's a couple of factors. Firstly, like where did those people come from in the first place? Okay, were they bought in the first place? So where did they come from in the first place? Have you only just got the page going, or has it been dead for months before? Like, history is so important. I always say, as long as your insights each week, the green little percentage is going up, that's all you're looking for. Like, that's all you're looking for is green percentages going up. And if it's not going up, you're going to ask yourself why. But you've also got to look at the time of the day that you're posting. You've got to look at the audience and the type of content. Like, is the content suitable to the audience? Because you've got to respect the platform. Like, Facebook is an older platform. It is older, our age. Older platform. It's an older platform. It doesn't use hashtags, but it's more social. It's sort of kind of storytelling. Instagram's more about the images. It's a younger demographic, usually under the age of 25. So there's just so many different aspects to that. But the other thing that I have to say is, you cannot let your ego get in the way. If you just make it about engagement, I call it egometrics. Egometrics doesn't fly for me. I have had so many clients pick up the phone and call me, and when I say, where did you come from, or what got you across the line to come here, they go, oh, I've been following you for 5 years on social media, and I had no idea. They've never engaged, they've never liked, because I always have a look. They've never engaged, they've never liked anything. They've just had all these touch points across all these social media. Suddenly the time was right, picked up the phone. So if I had to throw in the towel just because I didn't get a like, it's not, just don't worry about it. Just, keep checking your insights, make sure they're green.
That's good advice, really, because I think sometimes you look at the wrong metrics and you think, oh, this post is amazing, and I know I've looked at them and gone, wow, why did that post get so many more views or hits or results or shares, and this one didn't? And I'm like, this one's heaps better, but it's just the people at the time, as you said, the way that they've tested the audiences, and because the algorithm's always changing, as you said, if your page is static or something like that, is there I'll ask this question in a sec. You were talking about something earlier called shadowing, where a page might not necessarily get the results or the traction you'd expect it to. Tell me, for anyone else that's listening, what is shadowing, and is there a way to, or I've called it Facebook jail, LinkedIn jail for LinkedIn. Is there a way to get out of that box, or is there some magical pill that allows you to do that?
No, everyone wants the magic pill. No, there isn't. And the funny thing is, every single time this happens to someone, I mean, sometimes you get notified, sometimes you don't. But a lot of the time people go, oh, I didn't even know that happened, or, why did it happen? And I always say to people, you need to consider what you were doing that got you into that trouble, because chances are you're going to go down that road again. So in Facebook and in LinkedIn, you can go in jail. So they've got AI, artificial intelligence. So in the olden days, it was humans pre-COVID, but during COVID, they actually increased the amount of artificial intelligence. intelligence. It's artificial intelligence. It's not real. So when something suddenly happens that just doesn't seem right, like they could just suddenly put you in jail.
Do they tell you though, or is it like just a passive thing that all of a sudden your reach has gone down or something like that?
No, well, with I know with Facebook you do get notified. So you get notified. I've had people that have had their group feature taken away for a whole year.
Right.
I've had other businesses marketplace for a whole year.
What do they do to do that?
So they're in their personal profile. A lot of the time they are spamming. So marketplace and Facebook, you're not allowed to advertise your business. Facebook's a business. They want you to pay for advertising and they give you a page. Use what they give you for free. But marketplace is to sell secondhand stuff. It's not to sell your business. So you sell your business, they'll give you a warning. And if you don't listen, well, they'll take that function away from you forever. And then when you close down your personal profile, if you try to set up another personal profile, they can pick it up. So, you've got to go to another computer, you've got to clear cookies. I know none of this language, you probably do. But it's a big deal, like to lose those functions. So all the platforms are different. With Instagram, shadow banning basically means is that when people run out of hashtags because they get, bored, and they just use the same hashtag again and again. Like I think beauty bloggers or Ask Day, and when you actually put those hashtags in and everyone's using them because so many people are using them, Instagram goes, well, hold on a sec, you're using this on every single post. Like this is getting
Is this actually relevant? Yeah.
They won't even tell you. But they just suddenly, like you'll have no action for a week on your Instagram page.
Yeah, right.
So can you get out of it? No, you'll just keep posting. Suddenly all your insights and everything will go down and you can't do it. Facebook's new one at the moment is they'll take away your ability to comment in groups. So if you've been engaging in groups and say you every day going into groups and you're copy pasting the same promotional campaign in groups every single day, they go, well, this is copy pasting, same shit every single day. Okay, that's not cool. We're just going to stop you doing that for a week. And then suddenly you can go into groups and watch, but you can't actually engage.
Yep, you're
so
right.
At the end of the day, it's about relationships. It's about relationships, and guess what? Spamming is not relationships.
Yep.
Spamming is like what you're trying to do to get a quick pill, a quick magic pill. So.
We were talking about dating and messages actually before this, and I guess this comes down to it. If you're on Tinder and you send the same boilerplate "How was your day?" message to everyone, how engaged do you really think that other person's going to be? They're going to be like, I don't care how my day is, or how are you going, or the same thing. Sending the same thing, they know that's not hyper targeted. At least if you're doing something, a message on Facebook, you can write something that's relevant to the time and to the type of person you want to have listen to it. Is there any things you shouldn't write or shouldn't say that you? Well, I wasn't going to say that you can say on Tinder. You can say a lot of stuff on there that you shouldn't say. Is that kind of how you'd approach it? You'd look at the avatar of the person that should be reading this post and making sure that you're talking to them about that. You're actually engaged with the type of person, as opposed to just sending out boilerplate "How was your day?" type messages, or hashtag Friday goals, and then it has a picture of a cat with a coffee or something weird. Like, is it?
No, that's not a strategy. That's just, that's cross your finger marketing.
Yeah.
No, I think, look, at the end of the day, I spoke about personal branding and it's really important. Like I'm a little bit cheeky, so, I'll go out, I'll be a little bit cheeky, but I work one-on-one with clients. So they got to kind of be comfortable with that when they work with me. So that's, kind of letting them get a feel for me before we even start working together. You can't actually, in recommendations or reviews on Facebook, if you swear or use profanity, you can actually report it and they can remove it. And there is actually a setting in Facebook for you to turn off certain words on your page. So a lot of people that are in MLM marketing or in cryptocurrency, some people might come onto their page and troll them and go, this is bullshit, this is a scam. You can actually go into your page and you can set it up so that no person using the word scam can post on your page.
Yeah, right.
And this comes back to skills again. People don't take the time to develop their skills and understand these platforms, but all those abilities are there when you know how.
That's cool. So I guess we've covered off on a lot of information here, and we're coming close to the end of the podcast. My understanding is you have a course that people can look to and get a bit more information on how they can be bettering their process. Is that right?
Yeah, look, 100%. We've got so much for everyone. So the best thing to do is really just to subscribe on the website, which is a horrible spelling, so please check the footnotes. ChantalGerardy.com.au. And if you subscribe on the website, we've got a whole bunch of freebies there. We've got content calendars. We've got 21 content ideas that outsmart the algorithm. We've got how to get ready for Facebook ads, how to save time and money online. There's just so much on there for everyone. So I do encourage you, to jump on, snap it up, and get onto the email list, because we'll keep you up to date when things change, because they change all the time.
That's probably more important than anything, really, because it's just the playing field is always being updated. Is there any books that you've read that you'd say have influenced you to become the person you are now, that you would say to other people that you think they should definitely be reading, especially we're talking about some of the personal development stuff a little bit earlier on?
Yeah, look, this little South African girl who came to Australia, I've had some money sort of mindset issues in my life. And as a business owner, we were talking earlier about how that can actually hold you back and can really stop you from taking some of the risks in your business, or at least enjoying some of your business. So Sandy Forster, she's actually an Australian. Sandy L. Forster, she's on the Sunshine Coast. It's called wildlywealthy.com. I've done some of her stuff before. In fact, I've done her program twice. She's got a book. It really, really does help business owners. It's mostly for women, but it is for some inspired men. And I got a lot out of it because I love health and fitness, and I love exercising every day. One of the things that I really think is important to take time out to do is to just get your willpower and your muscle strong as well. And that's your money-making mind muscle. So, so I found her book very helpful.
That's cool. And I guess I've gone down the struggle of being overweight and the advantages of losing the weight, and changed my mindset completely. So I couldn't agree more with making sure that the instrument that you're using, being your body, is in the best shape that it can be to be able to make the best decisions. Obviously, the podcast is called Business Built Freedom. What is business freedom to you?
Business freedom for me is simply making sales without spending your life online and having a balanced life. And this weekend, lockdown was over. I said to my partner, I'm cancelling my Friday, cancel your Friday. We're going camping, taking the dog, going to go lie by a creek and going to camp and just, be grateful for the opportunity to be out of a lockdown. So, that to me is freedom. The ability to know that sales are still coming through the door, that my social media, I've got a system in place and sales are still happening and everything's still, I'm still making sales. My business is still running. I've got systems in place. My strategy is still undergo, and I'm away camping. That to me is business freedom.
I love it. Having a reoccurring income coming in, knowing that what you've built up there is going to lend itself to your hobbies and what you want to do. Well, I've loved having you on the podcast. And if anyone out there does have any more information, we'll make sure to put some links to Chantal's website so you can jump on there and check it out. With your permission, would you like to join our Facebook group if anyone has any other questions in bits and pieces?
Yeah, sure, 100%. Just remember to tag in a Facebook group. So tag the person you're talking to. So tag at Chantal Gerardy, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions because I'll get that notification.
Sweet, that sounds good. Well, if anyone out there has enjoyed this, jump to iTunes, leave us some love, give us some feedback, stay good, stay healthy, and hopefully stay out of lockdown. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.